like we're back in the studio. Los Angeles, 1997.
That's a good analogy.
Brett Gurewitz behind the controls. This is Brett.
I don't need to tell the truth, but I never lie. I don't need to bow to you. You're just passing by. I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I'll come back to you. Get inside my troubled mind with all of your threats. Sometimes I think I was blind. Not before we met. I never wanted to be the one that you depend on for your life. When you cry, it smells like soup. Sound like shown tonight. Never feel how I said all night. I gotta ride. Each time I stay all night. No, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night. You're an evil little girl. I'm a twisted man, tearing through your perfect world. Make you understand. I never wanted to be the one you bitch and moan and come home to. But as long as you look good, I'll come back to you. And to the things you do, stay all night. I gotta ride. Each time I stay all night. No, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all. I would never treat you bad. You deserve the best from me. If you want to keep your place, you better get down on your.
Yeah, Todd wrote this one.
Yeah. You think?
This is not mine.
I gotta ride. Each time I stay all night. No, I just might. You make me stay all night. It's just that side of you tonight that makes me stay all night. I'm gonna stay all night.
Text around Robin.
R.I.P. Todd.
Questions, comments, wagers. Give us the reason. Sleeper fantasy play, your best alternative line, whatever you have. Text the round robin 757-354-5517.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, take us that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the brave, and the home of the brave.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
You are tuned in to the Round Robin with Stephen Murray on Deep End Broadcasting.
Get me down up in these streets. It's all the bed. Way up ahead, I see the crowd and flashing red lights. I'd rather see the college outside.
From the Chicks Beach Studios in Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. It is just after 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. And we are the Round Robin Drive Time Live. I am Stephen Murray, nephew Dave, popping in from his studio from the lovely Ocean View, Virginia, in historic Norfolk. Dave, what's up, man? How's it going?
Good afternoon. Good to be back.
Good to be back, and there's a lot of ways we can go today. I think I've got a fun little exercise you can do right off the bat here. We'll update some baseball scores first. We'll take a look at the slate that's coming up a little bit later. Actually, we have a 4 o'clock game or two, so maybe we'll hit on that just real quick. See if we have any thoughts on that. You can jump in on it. Some wild, wacky games already today. And then college football is off and running tomorrow, so we'll take a look at some of those games this weekend as well. But what we'll do is we will focus mainly here in this first part of the show on some season NFL over-unders, Dave. How about that? And if we can narrow down a nice little window, maybe we can bet a couple of exact wins. I did this with Dave Del Grande last week a little bit. I'm asking him, because everyone thinks the Raiders are going to be so bad. I asked him, since he's real close to the team, how many wins are the Raiders good for? And he came up with 7 or 8, which is probably better than a lot of people thought. And if you go ahead and bet 7 or 8 wins right now, you're going to get paid at least 7-1 on your money, I think is what it was. I might be a little bit off on that. But we might be able to get in the range of a window of an over-under and nail home some big odds. Kind of like, Dave, you watched The Price is Right before, right? The Climber game or what's that one where the thing goes up and the lady just kind of tells it to stop and hopefully gets up. It's within the range. The range game, I think is what it's called. So we'll play the range game with some over-unders here with the NFL totals. First, baseball slate, real quick, up to date here on this Wednesday getaway day. There's only 4 games tomorrow before a really hard weekend, a very competitive across the board games for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. My first thought is to run away from it all, to be honest. But after a Bryce Harper go-ahead home run in the bottom of the 8th inning to go up 8-7, the Phillies have now surrendered via Greg Kimbrell 3 ninth-inning runs and now trail 10-8 to the Angels here in the bottom of the 9th. The Orioles go up 4-zip out of the gate over the White Sox and now trail in the bottom of the 9th with 2 men on, nobody out, so we'll watch that. But they trail 10-5. So the White Sox on a 10-1 run this afternoon. The Guardians and Twins are in extra innings and a very important game there for Cleveland for sure to try to hang around in the AL Central. 2-2, top of the 10th there. Middle of the 7th, Padres 4, Cardinals 3 in St. Louis. Bottom of the 7th, another close game. Cubs 2, close, low-scoring game, kind of like what we said it would be yesterday. Brewers 1. And we were pretty much spot on with our plays, Dave. Not sure how I didn't cash a ticket yesterday, to be honest. I think basically is because the Braves only won 3-1 is what it was. Bottom of the 4th, Nationals and Blue Jays. Toronto with the 2-0 lead there. Men on the corner is 1 out. Top of the 2nd, Reds, who have been very struggling bad. I know you hate that, nephew Dave, for sure. 0-0 with the Reds and the Giants. And coming up here just shortly, Astros, Red Sox, Mariners, Athletics. We'll take a look at those 2 games, and we'll get to the rest of the 5 games later on. We'll jump in those 2 games real quick. But anything stick out from you from today so far as I queue up these lines? David?
Sorry, Steve. I got to step away for 5. I'll be right back, all right?
Oh, yeah. I got you. All right, yep, 10-4. All right, yeah. So nephew Dave's got something going on here. So we'll go ahead and queue up the lines for what we have them. for the 4:00 games. Houston Framber Valdez against Crawford for the Red Sox, -132. The over-under is 10. The other game, Seattle and Oakland, just underway, first pitch. So you can probably jump on the live line there. Oakland or the Mariners completely doing us wrong last night. They're the only team that we need, but they scratched Kirby the last second. They go ahead and bench a lot of players as well, giving them rest and give basically the A's a layup 3-1 win, much to our dismay, as we just needed the Mariners really to win that game over the Athletics, and we would have had a nice night. So they scratch everyone late. That is baseball. That's what happens in August. If you're going to play with baseball, you're playing with fire for sure, and what some of these teams can do. Oakland with one hit, man on first already. And let's see what we got here as we queue up the game cast. Pitchers are Neal, 6.88 ERA for the Athletics, and Brandon Miller, 3.90. Bryce Miller, 3.90 ERA for Bryce Miller on the season. But he is 5-2 at home and a good record for him. I mean, you expect the Mariners, after resting players last night, just to bounce back and take the A's. I think they're plus 180 for -2.5 over 6.5. So go ahead and maybe take that. I think you could definitely see a 6-2 game, 5-2 anyway, something with the Mariners in that regard. The other one with the Red Sox. Now, Valdez, we've been against him pretty good. But the Red Sox just seem to be a little bit cold too as well. So Valdez, let's bring up his numbers real quick. Now, he flirts with no hitters all the time, or he just gets roughed up completely. So it is a feast or famine situation for Framber. Definitely not as good as last year. And something just seems a little askew here with the Astros this season. I just feel like they're just down just a hair on their normal level. Pitchers like Christian Javier not helping the cause much either. So one out there, top of the first for the Red Sox. Can their bats come alive is the question. This is just a hard game. Again, I think it's a feast or famine game. You just pick one or the other and hope you get the blowout on either end, and you probably actually can, because the line is pretty much evened up. If you move it just a little bit, either way, you're going to get a nice payout. So Crawford, 3.64 ERA for Cutter Crawford, the right-hander out of Ocala, Florida. Actually, Okeechobee, Florida, as we think about everyone down there going through the hurricane scenario as it passes through and up into the mid-Atlantic states. Here in Virginia, starting to get a little bit of the outskirts of that as well. So everyone stay safe. If you're out there, tune us in. If you're bored, get some games on the radio if you lose power. And, put in your $10 bets if you can. And let's see if we can get some cash home for you for some hurricane spending party money. All right. Let's see. Do we have Nephew Dave back with us yet? Nope, not yet. So we will scroll to football. So thoughts there, just feast or famine on the Red Sox or Astros. I'm not surprised if someone wins that one on a blowout either way. Really the safer bet right now, I would say, is the Mariners and an over. And we'll go ahead and actually update the scores one more time since we're at it here. And then we'll start talking some NFL over-unders. So final now. These games are finals. Angels 10, Phillies 8, White Sox 10, Orioles 5. So both of those home favorites giving up double-digit runs today in losses, and the books are going to have a good time with that one, I'm sure. 4-0, Blue Jays over the Nationals. Cubs 2-1, top of the 8th there with the Brewers and the Cubs. Bottom 4th with the Blue Jays. 4-3, bottom of the 7th. 2 men on, though, for the Cardinals with 0 out. They trail 4-3 to the Padres. Guardians with 5 runs in the top of the 10th inning go up 5-2 on the Twins. The Twins here, this game just may have gone final, to be honest. We'll double check that in a minute. But it looks like the Guardians are going to go ahead and take care of that one. Unless we're flipping to the bottom of the 10th. It says bottom of the 10th, 3 outs. So we'll assume that game's over with, just going final, and the Guardians with a big win on the road there. So a couple games now still in progress, so we'll keep a look on them as we go out through the show. All right, Nephew Dave, you back with us? Everything good?
Yep, we're back.
Okay, I just basically went over to baseball slate. Any of your thoughts on baseball today? Anything that's happened catch your eye or not really?
Well, definitely. I like the Mariners over the Athletics. You could probably run line that. That is a in live, so you might get some decent numbers out of that. The Rays.
We'll talk about that one later.
Yeah. Maybe the Mets, and other than that, Yankees and Tigers. There's a game everybody wants to watch.
How about the games that happened earlier? Your Orioles losing. It happens this time of the year, and you're not going to win every game. But both the Orioles and Phillies giving up double-digit runs today, while having the lead at some point. Phillies lead late, blow it. Orioles 4-0 out of the gate and lose 10-5. So, any thoughts on those two?
Yeah, you certainly don't like to see that, Steve. But like you mentioned, it happens. You're not going to win them all, and just to regroup for the next one. I think they'll be fine.
All right, 10-4. All right, let's get to some NFL. I'll tell you what we're going to go ahead and do. Would you rather do the AFC this week, Dave, and NFC next week, or do you want to do the NFC this week, AFC next week?
We can start. Let's start with the AFC.
Okay, so AFC season win totals. All right, we will start with. Let's start with the AFC East. We'll just start east to west. How about that? All right. So for the division for the AFC East, the Bills are the favorite plus 120, Jets plus 250, Dolphins plus 290, Patriots 8-1 odds to win the East. Now, with the win totals, and we're going to go ahead and go down the schedule as well. So we're going to actually do a deep philosophical dive into this. And the way this worked out yesterday, Dave, is when I did this, I was able to kind of navigate my way through basically most of a Survivor season, really, before I gave up on it in mid-December. So I'm able to go through these schedules, see what I can eliminate fast, and see what I can keep around. And Survivor-wise, with the simple strategy of basically picking on the Rams or the Cardinals, and occasionally the Panthers, I was able to navigate my way completely through mid-December with good teams where if you see it on paper now, of course, you have the upsets like we just said with Orioles and White Sox. White Sox not playing for anything, getting 10 runs. So it's going to happen. The Rams, they were like a 20-point favorite over the Jets or something and lost here a couple years ago, whatever it was. So those things will happen, as we said. But on paper, I came up with some good stuff. So let's see if we can try to do that. And go ahead and listen to the replay yesterday, people, if you want to hear the Survivor analysis here on deepend757.com. But as far as scheduling goes with over-unders, we'll start with the AFC West or AFC East. Okay, so team schedules. And before we look at the over-under number, we're just going to run through it. Dave, you're just going to tell me if you think this is a win or a loss for this team. Or you can say push. Okay? Actually, just tell me if you think it's a distinctive win. All right? Just a distinctive win. All right, so we'll start with the Bills. At the Jets, week 1, I think that is actually a win for Buffalo.
Yes, I agree.
All right, so we have one there. All right, at home against Vegas, I would say yes.
Yes.
At Washington, I know you're going to be a homer on this one, but I will say it's a push because we don't know what kind of Washington team we're going to get, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to wait a couple games to see that. I mean, it could be a competitive game. It's a game the Bills probably feel like they should win, but I think it's going to be, more competitive than people think.
Okay, so 2 wins so far. Home against Miami. This would be a October 1st game, so not cold. I'm going to give them a split with Miami at best or at worst, at best, either way. So I'll give them the win here. So that's 3, at least for me. How about you?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking. I think each team wins their home game, so it'll be a split for me.
All right, home against Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, I think, is going to be better this year, so that's a push for me. I'm undecided on that.
Okay, home against the Giants.
Yes, win.
Okay, at New England, I say yes.
Yes.
All right, home against Tampa Bay.
Yes.
All right, at Cincinnati.
No, I think they lose.
That's a hard one. We can't give them that one. But we have 6 guaranteed so far. Home against Denver, I say yes.
Yes.
Home against the Jets. The Jets may be better by then, but we'll see what kind of shape they're in because they have a real tough schedule out of the gate, playing a lot of hard teams. So by this point, this could be the make it or break it game really for the Jets at this point. I'll go ahead and give Buffalo I'll give it a push at this point, knowing the Jets probably will be at least better than they will week 1. You agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I think that's kind of like the Washington scenario. Let's kind of see if they start gelling together by that time. They might be able to stand up to the Bills.
Okay, at Philadelphia, hard game.
Lose.
Okay, at Kansas City, hard game.
Lose.
Home against Dallas.
Win, yeah.
It's a hard
Bills
game.
by 24.
All right. I'm going to stick them on 7 guaranteed wins right now. Home against the Rams, yes.
Yep.
Home against New England, yes.
Yep.
All right. And at Miami, it's kind of harder, right? That's a harder game.
Yeah, I think that's the lose. That's the loss right there.
So we have 9 wins for the Bills right out of the gate. And out of all the questionable games, you figure so that's 8 games we have questionable. Figure they split those, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 13 wins. That's 13 wins for the Bills. As far as their win total goes, if you want them to bet 10 wins or more, they're minus 260. All right, so that's a good little selection you could do on a up. You can bet teams. This must be a new one, Dave. I haven't seen this yet. 10 regular season games to win. Buffalo is minus 260. So if you want to throw them in a parlay, there you go there. Their over-under is 10.5. So we're saying that they're an over team, basically. Chances are, right? Minus 144. So if we go to exact wins now, let's try to find the window for them. And no, we don't want baseball anymore. Get off there.
Hey, you can get plus 240 for Bills over 12.5, kind of like we're saying right now.
Yeah, the alt line, right? Okay, yeah,
Yep.
So you can do it that way. Exact regular season wins. I should have these in all different windows to make this faster, and I'll do that. Okay, so for the Bills to win, exactly 11 games is 5-1. Exactly 12 games is plus 550. And to win exactly 13 games is plus 650. So if you take the 3 of those, this is kind of like your winning bands that you like to play, Dave, in baseball, kind of. In a way, we're creating our own band, essentially. So what we have here is if they can win between 11 and 13 games, and honestly, you might as well just take 14, to be honest, because it's 9-1. So you go ahead and take that. You could even put a tiny bit on 15 just to be safe as well. But I think, I probably once this is closed, it's closed. I don't know. I don't think they're going to have live lines on exact winning games in the season, to be honest. They might, but I wouldn't risk it. So let's say we'll start with 11, 12, 13, and 14 games. So that's a 4-game spread where the worst you're going to get paid out is, well, plus 200 if you get right on 11 games. But that's still better than the juice of over 10.5, right? If you do that. And then if you get to 14 games and they end up 14-3, you're going to get 6-1 odds. The middle right there would be right around plus 450, plus 550 for 12 or 13. So you're getting a pretty good average number of payout if you land the Bills 11-14, and we just figured them for 13 games if we split it in half. So Dave, can I get you on board with this kind of window play that we're trying to come up with?
Yeah, I like the 11 through 13. That's in kind of in my style there, Steve. So I think that's definitely something that I could get on board with.
All right, so exact wins there. All right, so the next team we're going to come up with are the Dolphins. We'll go ahead and do these guys through their schedule. Miami. All right, here we go. All right, we'll try to do the wins part fast. All right, at the Chargers, that's a hard game. Can't give them that.
That's tough.
At New England, that might actually be hard for them. You say yes. That actually may be hard for them out of the gate, but I will say yes too. Denver at home, yes.
Yes.
At Buffalo, no.
No.
Versus the Giants, yes.
Yep.
All right. Versus Carolina, yes.
Yes.
At Philly, no.
Nope.
Versus New England, yes.
Sweep, yep.
Versus Kansas City,
no.
Versus
figure that
Vegas.
to be an over game, though.
What's that?
I said figure that to be an over game, though.
Yes. Versus Vegas, yes.
Yes.
At the Jets,
yeah,
hard.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins will do well this year.
All right. Okay. At Washington,
Yeah, probably.
versus Tennessee,
Yes.
versus the Jets,
Are they going to sweep? I don't know. That's a push.
versus Dallas,
Yes. By 24.
at Baltimore.
No.
All right. Versus Buffalo.
No.
All right. So basically, we had them for 8 wins. So that's 9 undecided. We'll go ahead and give them, a lot of those we thought are declared losses too. So maybe we'll give them 2 or 3 of those. So
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see.
Call it 10 or 11, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Win total for Miami
It's a 10-win team.
is over 9.5 is minus 110. So we think they're right on the number. And the payout is going to be such where I don't think there's going to be anything drastic off of that. So that, just for example, exact regular season wins for Miami. Well, if we go 10 and 11 and 9, 10 and 11, you get paid 6-1, 6-1, and plus 650. So worst case, you're getting plus 450 if they end up right on their number, 9-11. So that's not a bad window, huh?
Not at all.
Okay, so that's that for Miami. Let's go ahead and Dave, can you get a schedule up by chance?
Yeah.
Go ahead and get the Jets up for me, and I'm going to queue up the Patriots. We'll do the Patriots real quick, and then you do the Jets while I answer my work text here for a second. How about that? All right. So the schedule for the Pats: home against Philly, No. Home against Miami? No. And I think I'm answering these for you, Dave. At the Jets? No. At Dallas? No. I'll give them against the Saints.
Yeah, I might get on board with that.
I'll give them at Vegas, just to be nice. So that's 2. Then Buffalo, Miami, Washington. I have a hard time thinking they're going to win any of those games, maybe 1. They have the Colts after that, the November 12th, so that'll be 3. At the Giants will be harder versus Chargers. At Pittsburgh, at Kansas City, at Denver, I'll give them that. For Buffalo, the Jets. So really, there's only 4 games you can pick that are, and they're not even gimmies, right? Okay.
No.
So let's look. Yeah. So the win total for New England is over under 7.5. The under 7.5 is minus 142. Eek. That's tempting to take right there, to be honest. Okay, so exact wins. All right, so if we have them for 4, let's just figure them for a 6-win team, right? That sounds right about to me. So the Patriots to win, if we have them at 6 wins, then we'll give them the window of 5 to 7. It's going to be the same thing as the Dolphins. Plus 600, plus 550, plus 600. I have a feeling if we're landing right close to the number, that's kind of how it's going to be here with all these teams. So you're getting about plus 450 if the Pats win 5, 6, or 7 games. Dave, it's like I want to bet every one of these teams now like this.
Yeah, I know. Now that we're seeing this, it's like, man, it's tempting.
All right, Blue Jays 4-0. Cubs 2-2 with the Brewers now. 4-3 Padre. That's in the middle of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th. Cardinals still down 1. Top of the 6th with the Blue Jays 4-0 winners or leaders at this point. Giants, Reds, top of the 4th, 2 outs. Astros on top of Boston early, up 2-0, top of the 2nd. And Oakland up on Seattle 2-0. Top of the 2nd. So the day of baseball goes sideways completely. Right now, if it keeps going this way anyway. All right, you had the Jet schedule?
Yep, I got it pulled up.
All right,
right
go
here.
ahead and run that down for me real quick.
All right, we got the Jets at home versus the Bills. I don't think they get that one. Jets and Cowboys. That's probably the Cowboys, so we're 0 for 2 already. Jets and Patriots. I like that one, so we'll give them 1 there. Jets and Chiefs. I don't like that one for them. Jets and Broncos. I like that, so we're at 2. Jets, Eagles. I don't think so. Jets and the Giants. I'll give it to them over the Giants. I think that'll probably be a pretty close game. So that's 3 for them. Jets and Chargers. That's a tough one. Let's give that one to the Chargers. Jets there versus the Raiders. I think they got that, so that's 4. Jets and the Bills. Said we were going to give them 1, so that would probably be the 1. So there's 5 for them. Jets and the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins get it done. Jets and the Falcons. I think the Jets win that one, although I think the Falcons will be a little bit better than people probably think. So that's 6 there for the Jets. Give them 7 versus the Texans. Again, versus the Dolphins, I think that's a split. Jets versus the Browns. That's a tough one for me, as I think the Browns defense is going to be pretty dang good this year. So we'll call that a push. Jets and Patriots, I think they have the possibility to sweep. So, Steve, we're looking at about 7 that I think we can feel decent about for the Jets.
With the Jets. Okay, so we're going to give them, again, we'll give them, 2 or 3 more, right? So
yeah, so give them 9. You're looking
so
for.
Let's give them 9. Let's see what their over-under is, which I think it's right about that again, to be honest. Wow, it's like someone's done this before, Dave, right? We're falling right on the number ourselves. All right, the Jets. Here we go. Their win total is, I should have this more handy. Over 9.5 is minus 122. So we think they're slightly an under team. All right. So what's our window? 8 to 10, basically?
Yep, 8 to 10 pretty much for a good number.
All right. So for the Jets window of 8 to 10, again, I think it's just going to be the same thing we just talked about. 8 to 10 wins is plus 650, plus 600, plus 550. Imagine that. So again, plus 450 is your worst payout on the Jets if they hit the 8 to 10 window, which is basically right where they're saying we'll lean with the slight under on that. And, you know, and you guys can out there too, if you want to make your window a four game window, you can absolutely do that too. That gives you much more of a broader shot. I know Del Grande liked just a 2-game window because he thinks he can narrow it to 2 games, which you get much better payout for sure. But for the 3-game window, there you go, plus 450. All right, I'll take the Ravens. Dave, why don't you queue up the Steelers, and then I'll do Cleveland, and you can do the Bengals. All right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So with the Ravens, Houston at home, I guess I'll give them that. Cincy at home, or Cincy away, much harder game, right? Loss probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Home against the Colts, that's 2. At Cleveland, I can't give them that game. I can't give them at Pittsburgh either, to be honest. Can you give them either one of those? Like guaranteed? Yeah. I mean, I think it's just when I say I can't give it to them, I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm just saying it's not a layup win, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's divisional. I don't think there's any layup there.
Tennessee, I don't think that's going to be a layup. It might be, but Tennessee's going to play them hard October 15th, probably.
And this is for Cincy?
This is for the Ravens.
The Ravens, okay.
Yeah. So far we have them beating Houston and the Colts for sure. Tennessee, I'm not so sure. And that's that's across seas somewhere because that's a 9:30 a.m. game. Not sure where that's at. So neutral field there. That takes away a home game for them too. So keep that in mind. Detroit, not a layup. Detroit could be good this year. At Arizona, we'll give them that. 3. Against Seattle, I can't give them that. In fact, I can't give them either of the last games, Cleveland, Cincinnati, or the Chargers before their bye week. They get the Rams at home, 4, and then Jacksonville, San Fran, Miami, Pittsburgh, all hard games. So really 4 wins I can see guaranteed for the Ravens. Everything else I would say is up in the air. So I would give them, 4 or 5 of those probably. So they're an 8-win team to me, to be honest. Does that sound about right with you, Dave?
Steve, I think they're going to win a couple more than that.
Okay. So we'll lean to the higher side. And this may be one we just flatly disagree on, to be honest, a little bit. So we'll take a look at the range. The Ravens, they're an over 10.5 as plus 104. So I'm leaning under. You think they get over 10.5?
Well, no, that's the thing, Steve, is I think they get to 10. I think that hook gets you right there. That's what that is.
Okay, so let's go with your high end of 10 and my low end of 8. All right, and we'll see what we got here. So 8 to 10. I think we're going to get a little bit better payout here. Exact win games. Again, if you're just joining us, what we're doing is we're going down through every team in the AFC's schedule. We're not saying if they're going to win or lose it. We're just looking for the guaranteed wins and then throw in kind of depending on the rest of the teams in there, how many extra wins they could probably have in that mix. And then we're trying to hit a window of exact win totals to get better payouts than what the over-under would be. So the Ravens over-under 10.5, juiced slightly to the under. And if we take 8 to 10, yeah, we're getting plus 750 for 8 games, plus 550 for 9 games, and plus 550 for 10 games. So the worst we're getting paid out is plus 450, but we can get as high as plus 550 on the 8 games. And if you really think they might go into crapper with an injury or something and lowball them at 7, you get 10-1 there. If you want to highball them with 11, you're paying another plus 550. So either way, in fact, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could hit a 6 window, Dave, and get just at worst get paid even money if you go 7 through 12 games, to be honest. So that's just an interesting way to look at it. You only lose if you fall out of that scope. I don't think the Ravens lose 6 or less. Hard pressed to see them win 13 or more. So you could do that if you wanted to. All right, go ahead. You got the Steelers.
Yeah, we got the Steelers.
What do you got?
All right. So versus the 49ers, can't give them that.
No.
Versus the Browns, I'm not giving them that either. So then they got week 3 versus the Raiders. I'll give them that.
Yep.
Next up versus the Texans, I'll give them that.
Agree.
Then they have the Ravens, certainly not giving them that. Versus the Rams, I'll give them that. So we're at 4.
Yep.
Jaguars, not giving them that either. Titans, nah, I'm not going to give them that either. Packers, I don't know. We're going to have to see what they look like, by this week, which is going to be what week is this?
Week 10 when they play the Packers.
Yeah, week 10, yep. So we'll see with that, but I don't think I'm going to give them that. I think the Packers might surprise a few people. Browns, not giving them that either. Steelers and Bengals, not giving them that.
No.
The Cardinals, I'll give them that, so there's 5. Versus the Patriots, I'll give them that as well. So that's 6. Versus the Colts, I'll give them that as well. So they are rising to 7. Then they're with the Bengals again, not going to give them that. With the Seahawks, not giving them that. And then ending with the Ravens. So I think we got a definite 7 there for the Steelers.
If they have a definite 7, then we can add 3, right? I think that's fair. You could even add 4 maybe. So we're going to think of the Steelers probably as being a over team here because their over under for the season is 8.5 minus 150 to the over. All right. So we had 7 guaranteed. We're going to add on 3 or 4 for fluff. So we're going to get a good payout here, Dave. It looks like. Exact win window will highball that number of 3.5 for Pittsburgh because I think they will win some of those games against the harder teams. They're going to be a good team this year. They might be one of the more surprising teams. I think they can actually definitely win 10 games. In fact, we should build a 10-game. We'll do that at the end with 10 games with the underdogs. But the Steelers to win, we'll start at 9 and go through 12. How about that? We'll give them a big window here. Plus 600, plus 600, plus 700, plus 950. So you're going to get plus 300 on your worst payout, and you could get paid as high as plus 650 or plus 400 even if you can bang the Steelers between 9 and 12 games. And I think that's a great way to approach this, to be honest. So a good payout on Pittsburgh. All right. Do you like that?
I do, very much.
All right. Next one. Let's go to – I'll do the Browns. The Browns are a hard team for me, to be honest. So it's going to be hard for me to give them any kind of layups, and they may be better than I'm saying. So this is one I will stay away from the get-go regardless. But we'll try to come up with a window. Cincy, no layup. Pittsburgh, no layup. Tennessee, not a layup. Baltimore, not a layup. San Fran, not a layup. At the Colts, I'll give them that. Seattle, not a layup. Against Arizona, I'll give them that. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Denver. No layups at Denver. I can't give them that. The Rams, I'll give them that. 3. Jacksonville, no. Bears, I'm not sure about. Houston At that point, I can't give them that, to be honest. I mean, that's a Deshaun Watson revenge game at Houston. I mean, they could be at his throat there. It didn't affect him last year. I think he won down there. The Jets and the Bengals. So hard games for Cleveland. That's 3 guaranteed wins, Dave. I mean, do you have any more faith in that of the schedule I just said? I know I didn't get your yes or no on them, but
I like one more. I think with the defense that they're going to have, that they'll be able to stand up to Denver.
okay. So 4 wins for sure. What do you want to add in? 3 or 4 for fluff?
Let's go with 3 for fluff. I think 4 is being a little too nice.
Okay, so Cleveland is going to be an under team to us. I can see that already. So their over-under for the season is 9.5. Under is at minus 134. All right, so we're going to take them as an under team. And the exact win window for them, since we're going to lowball that. This is a great scientific experiment, by the way. I like this. Nowhere else, people, where you get this kind of breakdown on exact wins and how to hedge the system for a better number. Let's see here. Cleveland, if we're going to lowball them, we'll just go 8, 7, 6, 5. How about that? In case they're really bad. Plus 650 for 8, plus 7 for 7, plus 900 for 6, plus 1,300 for 5 wins. So if they have a real bad season, then you could get plus 900 on that, and plus 350 if they get right to 8 wins. If you want to play the 9 wins just to be safe, at plus 550, you have all the room to do so in that big window for Cleveland. So as much as I say, I don't. That's the problem. There's so much fluff game potential in there. They could win more of those than what we're saying. So I'm not too confident on that completely at all. But good numbers there, Dave, if you think they're an under team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, 6-0 bottom of the 6 with Toronto and the Nationals. 3-2 Cubs over the Brewers. Padres bottom of the 9th 4-3. 0-0 in the top of the 5th, Cincinnati and the Giants. Cincinnati bats have just been horrendously cold. The Astros all over the Red Sox, 3-0 early. Bases loaded, 1 out, top 3. And the Mariners will try to rally against the Athletics, down 3-0 to them, bottom of the 2nd. So crazy stuff in baseball, David. Okay, next team on the list. You want to do the Bengals schedule? Go for it.
All right, I can do the Bengals. Pulling that up.
All right, again, we're trying to find exact win windows here and get good payouts. So go ahead.
All right, so versus the Browns, I'm not going to give them that just because of what I've been mentioning with the defense there for the Browns.
It's week 1 as well. It's a hard week.
Yeah, exactly. Versus the Ravens, not going to give them that. Versus the Rams, I'll give them that.
Yep.
Versus the Titans, I'll give them that.
Yep.
Versus the Cardinals, absolutely give them that. So we're at 3 with them. Seahawks, that could be a tough game.
That's a hard game.
That's going to be a push. Versus the 49ers, that's a push.
Hard game.
Versus the Bills, another hard game.
Yep.
Versus the Texans, they have that, so that's 5. Versus the Ravens again, not going to give them that. Versus Steelers, not going to give them that. Versus the Jags, not going to give them that. Versus the Colts and the Vikings, I'll give them 2 there. So that's 6. Versus the Steelers, not going to give them that. Versus the Chiefs, not that one either. And then they end with the Browns. Could be some playoff implications there, so I'm not going to give them that as well.
Yeah. So they have 6 what we will call layups, and then they're going to beat some of these other teams for sure. So, but how many can they beat? So let's just say 4. You got to give them 10 wins, right?
Let's give them 10 wins.
Okay, so enough of these baseball odds. Okay, for the Bengals, win total is going to be is why this show takes so long. Over under 11.5, Dave. So minus 144, under 11.5. So we think they're an under team, right? Just because, just from the difficulty of the schedule. Now, can they go over 11.5? Yes, they absolutely can. They're one of the better teams in football. But they do have their sputtering moments in the regular season. We have seen that for sure. So the window on the Bengals. This is actually off the board. All right. So we're not going to get the exact win. Yeah, they got the Bengals exact wins off the board. Everyone else is still on here. Interesting. So figure it's going to be the same dealio. It's going to be, plus 700 if you think they get like 9 wins. Or 8 wins is probably what plus 700 is. Probably like plus 650 for 9 wins, plus 550 for 10 wins, plus 550 for 11 wins. So you'll get paid out the further you go under with the Bengals. You'll definitely get a higher payout, probably just because of their name alone. But 11.5 is a big number to cover for the regular season. Would you say that's an under, Dave? Just looking at that number flat?
Yeah, anything is possible, Steve, but I don't know. I think my gut probably tells me they get to 12, but you never know. Injuries start happening.
Yeah. So. There's better plays on the board, I think, for sure.
Very much so, yeah. Very much so.
Okay, let's go to the South. AFC. So I will go with Houston to start. Why don't you cue up Jacksonville?
All right.
And Houston's schedule just turned into the Cowboys schedule for some reason. All right, let's get back to Houston. All right, I don't think we're going to find any layups here. Baltimore, Indy, maybe Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina. I mean, it doesn't matter. They have Arizona at home. They can win that game. There's no layups at all. So really 0 layups for the Texans. So they could definitely be good, though, and win 6 or 7 games. They're over-under for the season. This is a hard one. I guess we have no play on this, or at least I do, for sure. The over-under win total for the Houston Texans, 6.5 plus 116. I don't know about that, Dave. To find 7 wins for them, I think we'll just pass on this one altogether. But let's just look at 1 or 2 numbers on the exact win market for the Texans, just to have it out there for you. Wherever this number went, here we go.
I like exactly 6. I think they're a 6-win team.
So if you want to just bet that one straight up on the one, it's plus 550, so not the best of numbers. Really, to get a super good number, you have to go all the way up to 8 or 9 at plus 750 or plus 1,000 to get exactly 3 wins plus 800. So we can pass all that, I think, for sure. All right, what do you got on Jacksonville?
All right, Jacksonville, first game up versus the Colts. I'll give them that. Versus the Chiefs, won't give them that. Versus the Texans, I'll give them that. So that's 2. I think they beat the Falcons as well. That's 3. Versus the Bills, not going to give them that. Versus the Colts again, I think it's a sweep. So that'll be, 4?
Yep.
Versus the Saints, I think that's 5. Versus the Steelers, I won't give them that. Versus the Niners, won't give them that. Versus the Titans, won't give them that. Versus the Texans, we'll definitely give them that. Bengals, no. Versus the Browns, tough to say. Versus the Ravens, also tough to say. I'll give them the Buccaneers, give them the Panthers, and then push again with the Titans. So they're probably about 7 with some fluff.
So I got 8. So you got 8 guarantees. And then if you're going to throw in the fluff, you're going to at least add 3 more wins, right? So we're
they could be a 10-win.
Yeah. So the Jags are looking like to be an over team by what we're seeing here. Jacksonville's over-under. Now, I think it's pretty high, too, to be honest. This is being taken into account. Over 9.5 is minus 144. I think they get that. They get 10 wins, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So let's do the window from 10 until 12 for the Jaguars. This is where I wish I had like $50,000 to do on this, Dave, to be honest.
Right.
We should play this experiment out and see how it works out for the season, is what we should do.
We should.
For next year. Plus 550, plus 600, plus 650 in the range of 10 to 12. So it's the same old song and dance. Plus 350 to plus 450 is your payout range on all those. 13 wins plus 850 if you want them to do that for insurance. I think you probably can for sure. Okay. So good numbers there with Jacksonville. Basically the worst number you're getting, if we think you're getting above that over-under number, the worst number we're coming up with is basically plus 350 or plus 450. So you're getting that instead of the juice of like minus 122 if you think it's going to be an over just in that window. So just an interesting way to think about it with that band type of play, Dave. The Colts here, again, I don't think we're going to find anything with them. Why don't you cue up Tennessee, and I'll go down the Colts. Jacksonville, I can't give them any of these, to be honest. Houston, no. Baltimore, Rams, I can't. Tennessee, Jacksonville, Cleveland, New Orleans, Carolina, New England, Tampa. I still can't give them that. Tennessee, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Vegas, Houston. So this is a hard one. This is a lot like the Texans. They could probably win 5 of those games, 6 of those games. What's your number, Dave?
I don't know that it's even that high, Steve. I think
Right.
when the round robin fires up on Sunday mornings, you hear them on the stinky list quite a bit.
Right. All right. So if you want to take the Colts for, you can do this whole window of 3 to 6 games, to be honest. 10 to 1 for 3 games, plus 750 for 4 games, plus 600 for 5 games, plus 550 for 6 games. So interesting window there if you think they're super stink. And you might as well just take them for 2 games and 1 game because you're getting 17 and 36 to 1 odds as well. You can at least put $1 or 2 on there to cover as insurance policy games, we could say. 0 games is 110 to 1 for Indianapolis. That's possible.
It could happen.
Possible.
It really could happen.
Okay. What else do you
They're
got?
going to be that stinky, I think.
Well, why don't we just do a window of 0 to 2 or 0 to 3, and then you have plus 110, plus 3,600, plus 1,700, and plus 1,000 covered, and then you're basically if they get over 3 wins, you'll be down. But you could do like a season alternate win total at that point or something to try to bail
You could
out.
stretch that to 4 too, Steve, I think.
Yeah, plus 750. Yeah. So you get a whole big gamut there of really, Dave. So if you even do it that way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 100. So if you do all the way up to 5 games, then you are getting paid. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 600. You're actually getting 2 to 1 odds all the way up to 5 games. 6 games is where you start to kind of maybe go in a hole just a hair if you do it that way. But you could play 0 to 6 games, and the lower it is, the bigger the payout you could get on the Colts. And it could be monstrous, to be honest, if you think they're going to be that bad. All right, what do you have for Tennessee?
All right, Tennessee versus the Saints. I think I'll give them that one. Versus the Chargers, no. Browns, no. Bengals, no. Colts, yes. Ravens, no. Falcons, yes. Steelers, no. Buccaneers, yes. Jaguars, no. Versus the Panthers, yeah, probably. Versus the Colts, for sure. Dolphins, that's a push. Texans, yes. Seahawks, push. Texans again, certainly. And versus the Jags, I don't know. So what's that, 6?
Okay. So what? 3 games for Fluff?
Yeah, I think they're right around 8 or 9.
So Tennessee's probably going to be a little bit better than what people may give them credit for this year, to be honest. I could see that for sure. Vrabel is a good coach to me. They play a unique style. So over 7.5 wins minus 132 is the number. And we think they're an over team by everything we just said. So what's our range, Dave? 8 to 10?
I think it's 8 to 10. Exactly.
All right. So 8 to 10 is the range game here. Just like the Price is Right, people, if you're just tuning in, we're trying to narrow the bullseye to a small window of games to get good payouts, which are going to be a lot better payouts than just the normal over-under would be. So for Tennessee, we think 8 to 10 wins is our window as we go through the schedule on all of these. And if you're just tuning in, go back and listen from the beginning because we've been doing this for about 45 minutes now, and we still have one division left. Let's see here. So Tennessee plus 550, plus 650, plus 800 on 8 to 10 games. So there you go, plus 600, Dave. Is a good number if they get to 10.
I like that.
Okay. All right. So, remember, people, this is a mediocrity league, too. I mean, 8 to 10 is basically the wheelhouse, or 8 to 11. So Tennessee, I think, falls exactly right into this window. I mean, they're probably the best candidate to do something like this as well. Did we do everyone in that division? Let's see. We did Houston, Indy. Yeah, we did. Jacksonville and Tennessee. Okay. So to the schedule, you queue up the Chiefs, and I'll do the Chargers. Home against Miami, can't give them that. At Tennessee, yes. At Minnesota, I'll say harder game, but I'll say yes. Home against Vegas, yes. Home against Dallas, interesting game. Monday Night Football, that'll be a good game mid-October, home against Dallas. I'll say push on that, though. Kansas City, push. Bears, home win is 4. At the Jets, not so sure about. Home against the Lions, not sure about. At Green Bay, harder game. Versus Baltimore, harder game. New England, 5 is the win there. Denver, yes. 6. Vegas, 7, yes. Buffalo win undetermined. At Denver, yes. 7. Kansas City, home, hard to tell. So if we fluff them with 3 more wins, then we figured the Chargers are a 10 or 11 team win, a 10 or 11 game winner?
I think so, right in that neighborhood. But I think the Chargers beat the Cowboys by about 24 points.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. The Cowboys, big losers on that. Well, Dave, why do you hate the Cowboys so much today? Okay, so
this is what I have to do.
What do we think? 10 to 12? All right, so plus 600, plus 600, plus 700. So there you go. Plus 400 or plus 500 on your payout on the Chargers to win 10 to 12 games. Did we say their regular win total? I don't think we did. The Chargers regular win total is 9.5. So yeah, we're right there, right? Over 9.5 minus 128. We figured 10 to 12. If they hit the 10 to 12 range, you're getting paid plus 400 minimum. That's a lot better than minus 128, Dave. That's a lot better than minus 128. Okay, what do you got for the Chiefs?
All right, so for the Chiefs versus the Lions, I think they win that game, but I'm going to go ahead and call it a push. I think the Lions are going to have something to prove this year. Versus the Jags, yes. Bears, yes. Jets, yes. Vikings, yes. Broncos, yes. Chargers, yes. Broncos, yes. Dolphins, I'll call that a push for now. Versus the Eagles, a push. Raiders, yes. Versus the Packers, yes. Versus the Bills in December, I'm going to call that a push for now. Versus the Patriots, yes. Versus the Raiders, yes. Versus the Bengals, I'm going to also call that a push. And versus the Chargers, I think so. But
They could
that's
split. The Chargers play them tough. We'll give
yeah,
the
and they
Chargers.
could be resting people at that point if their win totals way up. So it's a split with the Chargers, I think.
All right, so you're right at 11 or 12 wins. So 11.5 is their number, minus 134. I think you're right. I mean, I think a lot of those are wins, and then they get a couple more probably. Now they're going to get everyone's best shot as well because they are the team who their opponents have the most rest in terms of bye weeks. So that's going to play somewhat of a factor. It kind of almost has to, I think. So exact wins for Kansas City. You know what? I think in this case, you just play it right around the number, right? So
yeah,
if they're 11.5, let's just play 11 to 13 plus 600 plus 500 plus 550. That's your window for 11 to 13 wins for the Chiefs. If you want to take them for 14 wins plus 650 as well, if you take that big number, then plus 250 is your payout if they go 11 to 14. And you know what? You can even add in the super window of plus 15 at 10 to 1, to be honest. 15 and 2. I think they lose a couple games for sure. So I don't think they go undefeated. But would not surprise me if they won 14 or 15 games either.
Yeah, it's my thoughts as well. I think that's their number.
Okay. For the Raiders, and then you queue up the Broncos, and then I'll do that's it. So we have Raiders and Broncos. You get the Broncos, I'll do Raiders right now. The Raiders, Las Vegas. Where are you at? Okay, here we are. All right, at Denver, not a layup. At Buffalo, hard game. Pittsburgh, hard game. Chargers, hard game. Green Bay, hard game. New England, maybe. Yeah, we'll give them that. At Chicago, funny because that's the one I gave New England as well. Chicago, no. Maybe 2. We'll give them 2 wins out of that group so far. At Detroit, I don't know. Giants, yeah, maybe. We'll give them 3. Jets, I don't know. Dolphins, harder game against the Chiefs, no. Vikings, yeah, no. Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, yes. Broncos. Really, I see 4 or 5 wins for sure. It's harder with the Raiders. I think you get that fluff number, though, as well. They're going to win a couple games upset. So I think, though, Grande was right when we talked. This is the one team we talked about last week. So 7 or 8 is probably likely their number. If you add in the fluff. How many wins do you thinking, Dave, exactly for them?
Yeah, I think it's going to be
kind of a hard one.
7.
Jimmy G, he's highly doubted for sure. So the Vegas Raiders.
I think you can give them 7, I think, is where I.
Okay. So over 6.5 is plus 108. So they're an over team for us. And for 7 to 9, exact wins for Las Vegas Raiders. Plus 500, plus 750, plus 1,000 for 9 wins. So that's a nice window, actually, where they're paying out pretty good to get over that 6.5. If they get over 6.5, they're not going to get to 10, right? So it has to be 7 to 9. So you're getting anywhere from plus 300 to plus 800 on the payout. That's actually pretty good. It's like I want to bet every one of these at this point, Dave.
Yeah, it's enticing. I will say that, and it's probably going to be looked at while laying on the couch this evening.
I might actually just do like $2 on this when it's all said and done. So, what's that? $6 a team, $24 a division. So that's like a $200 investment, but that probably turns into about $1,000, or at least a $700 or $800 payout. To be honest, It'll be a good experiment. Maybe we'll match $1 each or something like that.
Yeah, we would do a little something like that.
Okay. All right. What do you got for the last team, the Broncos? It'll be hard for me to give them wins.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't have much for them. I was looking at the schedule, and they have a tough road ahead of them. Steve, I think in my mind they win 5 to 6 games this year. But if you want me to go down the list, we'll go real quickly. They have the Raiders. I'm really not so sure about that. Versus the Dolphins, no. Bears, no. Jets, no. Chiefs, no. Packers, no. Chiefs again, no. Bills, Vikings, Browns, no. Texans, I think maybe they beat the Texans, so I'll give them 1. Chargers, Lions, Broncos, or Patriots. No, I think a push with the Patriots. I think the Patriots can beat them. And then you have the Chargers and Raiders again. So, Steve, really maybe only 1 that I like.
Yeah. So, and when we're talking, we're not talking wins, people. We're talking like layup victories. So we don't see any layups for Denver, really. Tough schedule for them. So their win total is, I have a feeling we're going to have them as an under team for sure. 8.5 wins. The under is -114. So let's see what the window is, 5 to 8, because I think that's fair, right?
Yeah.
In fact, honestly, I think you could go 4 to 7 on their exact win window, to be honest. We'll leave that up to you people how to do that. But if we go 4 to 7 here, because I would have more confidence in them winning 4 games than that would be being able to win 5 games, to be honest. But 4 to 7 for Denver. 4 games is plus 1,400. 5 games is plus 950. 6 games plus 750. And 7 games plus 600. There you go, Dave. You're getting a great payout if this Denver team can be really, really bad.
I think 6 is the cap for them, Steve. So you got to think, how we're talking from 4 to 7 is probably very realistic. I mean, and then, you got to pick which one you really like. But, I mean, there's the blueprint for you. From 4 to 7, you're getting good numbers. So,
plus 2,600 on 3 wins, plus 4,800 on 2 wins. 1 win is 100 to 1. 0 wins, 300 to 1. We'll give them a little bit more credit for that than 0 wins. But don't be surprised with the Colts at 110 to 1 get 0 wins after we kind of went through their schedule. They only have a handful of winnable games, it looks like to me, even against the layup opponents. All right, so good lesson there, people. If you want to catch what we just did there, again, we tried to hit an over-under with going through the schedule. We took the layups, victories that looked obvious. We added some fluff on top. We came up with a window of 3 or 4 games and got an extraordinarily better payout than if we just bet it straight over-under. So go back and listen to me and Dave for the last hour talk the AFC on that. We'll talk NFC next week. Tomorrow, Dave Del Grande. I'll talk NFL with him. Last-second fantasy stuff for drafts. We'll start looking at some other numbers as well. And then John Hale will be on with me to pick all the ACC contests that we have starting tomorrow night with NC State and UConn. So he'll be back on our show again. We'll record that tonight and replay that tomorrow. And then what me and Nephew Dave will do is take a quick break as it's 5:15 here in Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States, here on the Round Robin. I am Stephen Murray. Dave Metzger, Nephew Dave from his mobile studio as well. We have a few more baseball games on the slate. It's been an ugly day already. Houston is hammering the Red Sox 7-0. Reds 2-1 over the Giants, bottom 6. Blue Jays hammering the Nationals. Seattle, there you go, Dave. They come back to tie the A's 3-3. Rest of the slate after this. operated, CP Shuckers Cafe and Raw Bar specializes in delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. We opened our doors in 1995 and have enjoyed being a place to either relax or celebrate ever since. Whether you are in the mood to indulge in a great meal with your friends and family or watch the game, we promise that our inventive menu, attentive service, and skilled bartenders will have you truly satisfied. Both of our locations have spacious outdoor patios for enjoying the breeze and catching a little sun. Our friendly staff at CP Shuckers will make your next dining experience a pleasant one by delivering personal care. We are open until 2 a.m. Full menu will be served until 10 p.m. and late night limited menu until 1 a.m. For larger parties, please give the location of choice a call. Pacific Avenue, 757-425-8676 or Shore Drive, 757-412-2929. More information at cpshuckers.com. Thank you for your continued support and have a shucking good time.
Hey, does your home have algae or stains on the siding? Is there grime built up on your deck or brick patio? Coastal Pressure Washing Services has a warranty of professional services. From pressure washing to window cleaning to deck and fence staining, as well as dryer vent cleaning, you got it all. Call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net. Again, call Coastal Pressure Washing at area code 757-439-9810 or visit our website at coastalpressurewashing.net.
Dependable Solutions can provide all voiceover services for your advanced audio production needs. Think of us as an inexpensive option, no matter what the size of the project is. From one-word cameos to full script productions, contact Dependable Solutions at 757-354-5517. Do you want to advertise with Deep End Broadcasting? Send us an email at deepend757@yahoo.com. That's deepend757@yahoo.com.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
It is estimated that 23% of car accidents each year involve a cell phone. That's 1.3 million accidents a year. Reaching for your phone, you are 4 times more likely to crash. Dialing on your phone, 2.8 times more likely to crash. And texting on your phone, you are 23 times more likely to crash. Attentive drivers are safe drivers.
Know your gambling limits. Don't ever bet what you can't cover. Wagering on sports is only fun when you do it the right way. Not every bet will win. When you get on a bad run, know it and avoid trouble. Know your gambling limits.
Control your alcohol. Don't fight. Don't drink and drive. Your one punch could kill someone. It happens. If you're behind the wheel, you may think you are fine, but then the other driver is under the influence of texting, and then you are done. Control your alcohol.
This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
Three outs left for the Nationals. They trail 7-0 against the Blue Jays. 2-1 Reds, top of the 7th. Astros 7, Red Sox 0. They head to the bottom of the 4th. 3-3 Athletics and Mariners. All right, Dave, the game you're most excited about tonight, obviously from your earlier comments, the New York Yankees and Garrett Cole are at the Detroit Tigers. Minus 205, plus 172. The over-under is 8. Let me get off all this football scheduling. You know, Steve, that's something you should do during the break is prep for the next segment, right?
Steve, got a interesting little bit to give you real quick. Being a Capitals guy like myself, just received news that Carl Hagelin has hanged up the skates. He has retired.
Wow, Carl Hagelin.
At the age of 35.
the old Penguin / Capital. A couple of those guys now floating around the league, which, it's kind of weird to say too, that those would be your only teams. I don't think Hagelin had any other teams in his career. But
he played with the Rangers as well.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. There you go. All right. So Brendan White, the right-handed pitcher for the Tigers, 4.03 ERA for him. Garrett Cole has Cy Young numbers for sure. 11-4 overall, 2.95 ERA, 181 strikeouts, and 168 innings pitched. So he is the workhorse. Brendan White, just 38 innings pitched for him, but 40 strikeouts on 12 walks. 4 home runs. This will be a pass for me. 66 degrees on a beautiful night in Detroit. Cooler weather has come through the Detroit metropolitan Michigan area and has broken the heat wave that has gone out there in the Midwest. But no play for me on the Yankees and the Tigers, David. I know you're so excited about this game.
So excited, Steve. I think the one thing that I would maybe look at, and I don't know why I keep doing this, but I think I would maybe look at an all-under here.
Yeah, I heard
under 6.5 or something. I'm not saying to do it. It's a no play for me, but if you really wanted to find something, if you needed a little something for a parlay or something, if Garrett Cole's having that kind of year, and I don't think that either of these offenses are spectacular at the moment. So if you wanted to really find something, Steve, I think maybe try an under.
Yeah, and it's been a low-scoring series that the Yankees have owned for sure. So you'll be on the right track there, David. 88 degrees and sunny skies down in South Florida with the Marlins in the Tampa Bay Rays at Lone Depot Park. Did you know that was Lone Depot Park, Dave, down in Miami?
I did not.
Yeah, that's the first time I've actually heard that. So the starting pitchers for this one are Zach Eflin, who's been decent for sure, 13-8 for the Rays, 3.55 ERA, 144.1 innings pitched, 147 Ks in those innings, 16 bombs in those 144 innings. So, about a home run every 9 innings. Not too shabby, I guess. 147 Ks, again, is good. Luzardo's been a pitcher who's been able to pitch a lot of innings as well. 3.77 ERA for him, 143.1 innings pitched, 167 strikeouts, 21 home runs for him, and he has the 9-8 record for the lefty Jesus Luzardo. The Rays have been hot, Dave, and they can smell blood in the water here with the Orioles dropping the game today. So you definitely think that they're motivated to go up and gain a game. They're trying to definitely get back in the first place. So the Orioles are going to have to try to hang on there. So my lean would be towards the Rays and somewhat of a lower scoring game as well. But their bats have blown up a little bit here in recent games. And if you've been fading the Rays since they kind of went on the Wander Franco bad news slump, you've been getting absolutely destroyed because they have been winning and covering run lines as well. Minus 122 is the line here, over under 7.5. I think you can take, just because the Marlins don't score a lot, I think you can take the Rays minus 2.5 over 6.5. And that's going to pay a nice plus 350 if the Rays can win this game 5-2, 6-1, something like that. Even 6-3 gets you there easily. So a good number on the Rays and the over tonight. But I would have said the same thing about the Orioles and the Phillies, both losers today as well. And the Mariners in the same aspect as well. So this would be kind of the over parlay with the Rays if they were to lose to the Marlins here. But what do you like here, Dave?
So, Steve, I'm going to take a look here, and I think from what you pointed out with the O's dropping that game, they can pick up a little bit of ground here, and you got to think that they know that. So I think they're going to be very motivated. And the Marlins, they don't wow me at all. So I think the Rays have a potential here. And I'm going to move the run line to the Rays at 2.5 for minus 215 play.
Oh, nice. Plus 215.
Yeah, plus 215.
Yes. All right. Yeah, that's a good price on that for sure, I think. And then you don't have to worry about the runs because really that could be a 4-0 game, to be honest.
Right.
Pirates and Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium again tonight. Let's see if the weather is cooled down in Kansas City as well. It's about even on the spread here. Let me back up to this. All right. Let's see. Guardians do beat the Twins 5-2. Cardinals come back and win over the Padres 5-4. The Cubs do beat the Brewers 3-2. All right. And again, Angels winners over the Phillies, White Sox winners over the Orioles. Other games in progress, scores unchanged. Just a couple outs left for the Nationals before their 4-hit day is done for as the Blue Jays up on them 7-0. Okay, so we are on the Pirates and the Royals. Yes, Kauffman Stadium in Missouri. The weather tonight is a beautiful 81 degrees. So a picture-perfect night in Kansas City. The pitchers for this game are Andre Jackson, the right-hander for the Pirates, and Angel Zerpa, the lefty for the Royals. Jackson, a 4.91 ERA and 36.2 innings pitched. Zerpa, a 7.27 ERA and 17.1 innings pitched. So all that would lead you to think that this is going to be an over game. But why would you put yourself through that kind of suffering on the baseball bet? Betting that. So a pass for me, David. Do you see anything you like?
No, Steve, there's really not much that interests me in this one. So I'll be very honest about that.
The Braves looking for the sweep in Colorado. Spencer Strider was scratched for Vines. The pitcher tonight called up from AAA Gwinnett to make the start. So I don't know if the Braves are trying to protect Strider's potential Cy Young numbers in Coors Field, or just give him a little extended break with the playoffs coming up. But 89 degrees, it is going to be a hot night in Colorado. So maybe that's part of the reason too. You know, let's not exhaust the kid. But Darius Vines, no record on the year. Kyle Freeland, 5-13, even flat 5 ERA for the Rockies. 135 innings pitched though, and 161 hits. Freeland's been the consummate pro for the Rockies, but he's never the greatest pitcher. But they do hang their head on the veteran being able to go out there as much as he does still. And repeatedly for him, the Braves line up against Freeland. Let's look at that. Acuna is 3 for 9. Albies is 9 for 21. Austin Riley is 2 for 6. Matt Olson 2 for 11. Ozuna 1 for 8. Arcia 1 for 7. Darno 0 for 1. Pilar 5 for 11. And Michael Harris, the second, 2 for 5. So overall, they hit him pretty decent, and there's no career record against Vines for the Rockies. So it's really Braves or nothing here, I guess, since they hit the ball so much. But I could maybe see this being an over game, I guess. The Braves get their runs, and maybe the Rockies beat up on the rookie a little bit. But Dave, at 13.5, this is going to be a no play for me because I'm not going to bet over 13.5, nor even think about an alt line. But watch, this game will be something like 12-7. I guarantee you.
Yeah, Steve. My first instinct was, hey, this is starting to sound like an over. But when I saw that 13.5, Steve, there is no way. So maybe some player props if those are kind of numbers that are coming about. But other than that, Steve, yeah, it's just not much there.
All right. In the final game, Arizona is at the Dodgers. Peplot is the pitcher for the Dodgers against Platt, the pitcher for the Diamondbacks, minus 180 for the Dodgers. Over under is 9.5. Final game on the slate. The Dodgers are a machine. They can beat up Zach Gallen. They can beat Merrill Kelly. It doesn't matter who they beat. In fact, did they beat Kelly last night? I think they did. I fell asleep for the end, but I thought I saw where the Dodgers won. Yeah, they beat the Diamondbacks 9-1 last night. So the Dodgers flexing their muscles against their Western counterparts there in the Diamondbacks. But I would look for more of the same here tonight, I guess. 84 degrees, sunny skies for the Dodgers. Their bats are awake. Brandon Pfaadt, that's his name, Pfaadt, the right-hander for the Diamondbacks is 1-6, 5.90 ERA, 67 innings pitched, 71 hits, just 60 Ks, 15 home runs in those 67 innings. So he gives up the long ball. And Ryan Pepio, Pepio, the right-hander for the Dodgers, just 9 innings pitched, 2.00 ERA. So not much of a sample of him. But I would expect this to be a higher scoring game, to be honest. Maybe the Diamondbacks can add to some runs that they haven't gotten the last few nights. In fact, they had 11 runs a couple nights ago, 10 runs last night. I think they can probably exceed that since they had named pitchers in all of those matchups. And here we go with the Pfaadt against Pepiot, whatever this guy's name is, game. So I'll just take the over on this, Dave. How about that? Over 9.5 is good. And you know, this is going to be one of those 8-7 type of games, to be honest. So if you're going to go alternate total there, let's just see what kind of number we can get, Dave, for a super high over-under. Over 12.5 is plus 255. Over 13.5 plus 360. You got anything on that?
Yeah, Steve, I think it's an overplay, and I think you go anywhere from 10.5 to maybe even 13.5 if they're gonna score an 8-7 game.
Yeah, I agree. So if you want to do a night slate, just kind of crazy, I don't know what's going on here in life. Maybe you just do that. Maybe you take the over in this game. Maybe you take that super over in the Braves Rockies as well. We talked about Zerpa and Jackson not being anything special. So maybe you just take the over there and then trust the Rays on a win alternate run line margin, right? That would be a good angle for the evening. All right. We also have the Mets and the Rangers. We didn't talk about that one.
No.
Rangers minus 154, Mets plus 130. Reyes called up. So Kodai Senga has been scratched, and Dunning is the pitcher for the Rangers. So again, another pitcher scratched here. We've seen a lot of that lately with these teams, kind of like a NBA last second not playing guys type of dealio. Although this was made this morning, this decision. Dane Dunning, 9-6 overall, 3.36 ERA. 0-2 for Reyes, 7.50 ERA in 12 innings pitched. So a big chance for the Rangers to bust it open tonight. And I would say that they will, Dave. I'll take the Rangers on the run line here.
Think so? No chance for the Mets. I was maybe thinking about giving them a shot here.
Well, you can, but don't call me crying.
I don't think I'm going to, though.
Don't call me crying with their lineup. Let's see what the Mets have for their lineup tonight.
I'm going to send you some pretty angry texts there, Steve.
All right, so we have Nemo leading off 259. All right, that's his average. Lindor's batting average is up to 251. All right, Jeff McNeil's batting average is up to 266, so that's good. Pete Alonso 219. Daniel Vogelbach 225. That's actually up. DJ Stewart 268. He's been a pleasant surprise. Navarez, the catcher, hitting 200. Vientos 195 and Ortega at 234. So that's what they're going against. their career against Dunning. Lindor's 1 for 3. DJ Stewart 0 for 3. The Rangers don't have any at-bats against Reyes, but here's their batting averages top to bottom, which is going to be way better than the Mets. 276, 342, 282, 248, 279, 267, 277, 285, and 259. All that tells me Rangers by 3 runs or more.
Yeah, that's what it's starting to sound like.
All right, so best bets for you, Dave, in this late slate.
Steve, I think I would go with an alternate total there in the Yankees game of under 6.5. I actually ended up kind of talking myself into that. Rays minus 2.5 and over 10.5 in the Diamondbacks Dodgers game.
All right, I'll take over Dodgers, over Braves, Rangers, Rays. I'll lay off the Pittsburgh game. Okay, college football. Dave, let's talk just a couple minutes about that. We'll bail on out of here since we said that we would. We have games tomorrow, so that's what we'll take a look at. Kent State, Central Florida. NC State is at UConn, 14.5, 46.5 there. Nebraska is at Minnesota. Florida is at Utah. Utah is minus 4.5, 44.5. And that is your Thursday slate. Anything to stick out for you in those games? Good Thursday starting slate.
Yeah, not bad, Steve. I think the game that most interests me that I would probably do something with, I think I would go with the underplay in the Nebraska-Minnesota game. We know Minnesota in the last couple of years they have a pretty good, defense. They don't exactly score, a ton of points, and I don't think Nebraska is going to score a ton either. So probably a definite underplay there with the Minnesota game. That's just my initial thoughts off the bat. But I couldn't pull up the other ones. I'm getting a lot of Saturday stuff, but yeah, having trouble with they're only giving me the one Thursday game for whatever reason. I'll have to look over on the other book.
The one play I'm going to look at, Dave, is I'm not sure how good UConn's going to be, but they were decent last year. And I know NC State has defense, and they are at home. But I think this is a little bit of an lower over-under to me, 46.5. I think the Wolfpack can definitely score 28 points or so, or even low 30s. And I'll give UConn some credit for some points as well at home. So I could see this being literally like a 35-20 game, 35-21, something like that. So I think we can sail over to 46.5 at UConn and NC State.
Another thing I like here, Steve, I actually like it quite a bit. Utah and Florida, I think there's room to move that spread in favor of Utah. I got it at minus 4.5 for a minus 105, and I think there's room to go by 10 or more if you want to move that spread to 9.5. I think it's there. I don't know how good the Gators are going to be this year. We've got Utah ranked 14th right now, and I think they'll come to play Thursday evening.
Yeah, Utah. Of course, we don't know about Cam Rising, their quarterback. Is he going to play or not? I think that's the main question. I'm wondering if Florida is just being a little disrespected here in the SEC. Their odds to win the SEC are way down there. They're not getting a lot of credit for what they've done here in the last couple of years. Looks to be a program spiraling down, which is hard to say for Florida and the Gator faithful, as they have strong support there in the swamp. So I would not be surprised to see Florida win this game, to be honest, Cam Rising or not. 44.5 is an interesting number there. I could see that actually being an over game too, if Florida can make a game out of this. So the average of possessions was down because of the running clock, Dave, after first downs. We were down like 2 to 3 possessions last week. So buyer beware on your overs. And that's definitely always better for unders, for sure. Less possessions, less points. So let's see if that trend can continue. All right. Anything for the weekend ahead, Dave? Your Sooners play. They're big favorites at home. You got any thoughts on them before you get out of here?
Yeah, Steve, I don't, they'll probably blow them out. Hopefully, I'll definitely be watching, see what we're looking at coming out the gate. But man, it's just so hard to play those huge spreads like that. So I think for this week, I leave that alone and just kind of watch the game as a fan and see what we got. There's so much other action going on, Steve, so I don't mind leaving that alone. But, yeah, excited to see, what we got.
All right. Interesting games for the weekend, and I'll talk about the baseball slate. Let's see. Louisville, Georgia Tech Friday. Stanford, Hawaii Friday night. Fresno State, Purdue is an oddball matchup. Colorado with Dion at TCU. Nearly 3 touchdown underdogs are Colorado. East Carolina and Michigan. Interesting number there. East Carolina plus 35.5, Dave. Maybe something to look at, to be honest, there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Anything else stick out? There's going to be 1 or 2. Ohio State's at Indiana. Ohio State laying 29.5. You got to figure they're going to wax that number. Boise and Washington. Interesting game. Washington, 14.5 point favorites.
I think Colorado could cover, actually, Steve.
You know what, Dave? I'm not going to be surprised if they do. And they're getting paid a lot to win 6 games. I'll tell you that. And what is a strong Pac-12, but very top-heavy strong. I mean, there are a lot of bad teams in that Pac-12, to be honest.
Exactly.
Nevada, USC is a game. Washington State, Colorado State. Texas A&M host New Mexico. 38.5 point favorites for Texas A&M. Now, New Mexico is supposed to be a little bit better too, but so is Texas A&M here. West Virginia and Penn State, interesting game. Although the Nittany Lions are near 3 touchdown favorites. I'm not so sure about that, Dave. I want to give West Virginia a little bit more credit for that.
I think you're going to find West Virginia is going to be on the stinky list this year. I wouldn't expect too much out of that.
John Hale kind of said that too. Texas Tech at Wyoming, minus 14 there for Texas Tech. North Carolina and South Carolina is an interesting game. The Tar Heels a favorite at South Carolina, minus 2.5, over under 64.5. We talked about beware of Carolina games going over a lot this year. Now, again, if we're down 3 possessions, I don't know if South Carolina can hold up their end of the bargain in that scoring fest.
That's the problem.
I kind of like North Carolina in that game. ACC team favored at an SEC team. That has think written all over it from the get-go. So give me the ACC team in North Carolina. I think that's a good angle, to be honest. UCLA and Coastal Carolina is an interesting game. Coastal Carolina's good. They're catching 14.5 at UCLA. That is on late Saturday. That's your get-out game, over under 66.5. Again, I mean, there's some big numbers, Dave. I'm going to look at some unders here for sure, and some alt unders, to be honest. Sunday triple header. Northwestern, Rutgers, Jackson, Florida A&M. Who cares about that? Oregon State, San Jose State. That's an okay game for a doubleheader. And LSU and Florida State Sunday night. Good game.
That's the game of the evening.
Yep. And Clemson Duke to round it out on Monday. So good slate of games. What's your best bet of all of those? I kind of like North Carolina.
Oh, man. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. Yeah, I like North Carolina. I like that play. I think there's room to maybe even move that spread. But I'm going to take a long, hard look and really contemplate Colorado covering, like I mentioned. As of right now, I really like that play. But let's see. There was one other that caught my eye. Oh, man, I'll have to think about it. I think Penn State, I think you could move that up one more and get a plus number out of it.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. Ohio State, I would think they might drop the hammer on Indiana, to be honest. How about your Oklahoma team? Can they cover 36.5? Arkansas
that's
State,
the
the
thing.
opponent there.
That's the thing, Steve. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Steve. I wouldn't play it.
All right, so we'll pass on that.
That's a big number.
Well, on the alternate spread, Dave, if you want to lay 44.5, you can get plus 220. I'm assuming you're not going to sign up for that one.
I don't think I'm signing up for that one.
All right, guys. All right, so that's a lot of fun today. Go ahead and hit the replay if you want to listen to how me and Dave broke down the over-unders for the NFL and hit our windows and our special little experiments. We'll do the NFC next week, AFC this week. Tune in to yesterday's show on the replay if you want to hear my Survivor strategy. And tomorrow, John Hale, all the ACC games, we'll pick them with him. And more Dave Doe Grande stuff as well. We'll go all over the board with him. So this is the round robin. I am Stephen Murray, Dave Metzger chiming in too. We will be out of here. Good luck on your games tonight, everybody.
I keep looking